experience the traditionally intense heat of August, wildlife will be hunting down food and water sources. And you could encounter a snake. East Texas News Weekend's Bob Hallmark breaks down what to do if you do have a slithering visitor.
Just the sight of one is enough to make some people cringe. Outside pet food or pet water could draw mice and rats, and those will draw the natural predator, snakes. Texas State Park Police Officer Cam Barlow says it's very common to encounter snakes lying in wait for prey near a food or water source.
A pit viper, which would be a venomous snake, will coil up underneath the leaky faucet, waiting to ambush its prey.
One area that can create a problem with encounters is leaks around pipes and faucets.
Unfortunately, in the hotter months of the year, a leaky faucet can bring in reptiles.
Cooling water creates the perfect environment for hunting. But there are a couple of reasons not to take action yourself.
We have snake species in Texas that are endangered. You can seek professional help in getting that snake moved. They do help manage rodent populations. We have snakes that also manage other snake populations.
Texas has 4 species of venomous snakes: copperheads, cottonmouths, rattlesnakes, and coral snakes, all with a potent neurotoxin or hemotoxin, and all need to be given respectful distance, and a bite needs immediate attention.
If you are bit and injected with venom, there is a need for medical help.
So if you do have an encounter,
if you don't know what it is, leave it alone. There's no reason to take that unnecessary risk.
Bob Hallmark, East Texas News Weekend.
Now that video made some of you cringe. Now the expert says to minimize encounters, homeowners shouldn't leave any of their pets' food or water outside. They should, of course, fix their water faucets, make sure there's not any leaks there, and then clear up their yard from any debris because you don't want anything they could hide under. And like Bob mentioned, it's hot out there.
It is hot out there, and I was thinking, you know, my friends with the pool, it's not uncommon for them to find a snake in the pool. So those snakes want to get cool like we do, I guess, as well. But